Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I hope everyone's having a wonderful start to their weekend. Hey, it's been a pretty great weekend here. The Bears won a game again, so they are now 9-3. They beat Philadelphia yesterday, which was pretty unexpected, I think, for all of us here in Chicago, and it's quite unexpected that I think we have a football team that we can look forward to watching for the last 2 months of the season. Almost will be guaranteed going into a playoff spot at this point with 9 wins. If they get the 10th win, I think it's inevitable that they'll be a playoff team. We haven't had a playoff game here for a few years, and we've had a lot of bad seasons in that time, so it's kind of a fun time. Even for people who are not a huge football fan like myself, it's fun to watch the Bears when they're playing well. So it's been a lot of fun around here seeing that, and the Bulls are struggling a little bit. Got off to a hot start, slowed down quite a bit. Their division rival, the Pistons, are off to a wonderfully hot start. And the Blackhawks are doing better than they had the last couple of years. So some of their young talents beginning to show their abilities, and they're starting to play better as a team. So they're starting to get a little bit better. But I'm not a big hockey fan, so I don't really follow it on a week-to-week basis. I just know that they're doing a little bit better in the standings. I am a big soccer fan, so I took a break from watching soccer today to be able to kind of do this quick video because I got a card in yesterday that I'll talk about in a minute, and I'll show a little bit more in depth when I turn the camera around. But it prompted me to talk about the anniversary sets that Topps did, going back to 2001. They did an anniversary set in 91. It had the 40th anniversary on the card, and they really introduced a lot more beautiful photography into the card design that I think influenced the development of the Stadium Club and the premium product that came out a year later by Topps. So that set, I think, was a little bit of a game changer for them, even though it was the last one that was produced with bubblegum in the pack. So there was a little bit of that nostalgia still with that set, that looking back on it was kind of like the last kind of set of my childhood before like things really changed in the industry, specifically for Topps, because the other brands were starting to put out their premium sets right around that time. We already had up to their base products, so they were more attractive and people wanted to purchase their products, which kind of fast forward into the end of part of like 2000. The base products for like Fleer, Donruss, Upper Deck, Topps were cards that really nobody really kind of collected. If they did, there was some sort of insert in there that people wanted to go after. For Topps, it was like autographs, and they introduced like relic cards, I think, at that point in some of their base products. And for the other products, they started having some serial numbered cards. At least Upper Deck specifically, I can think about having serial numbered cards that were inserted into their base product. So in 2001, they decided to make a big change. And it's actually been 25 years from this fall that they introduced their 2001 anniversary set, which was the 50th anniversary, as I've mentioned before on the channel, which had obviously the gold numbered inserted cards that were in the set, which I'll kind of talk about in a minute. But I want to talk about not only the anniversary sets from 2001 onwards, so 2001 and 11 and 21, but I want to talk about specifically a parallel that was supposed to be special, and it kind of failed. And I think now we have about almost a 5 years worth of perspective on why I think it's pretty valid statement that this particular parallel has failed, where others like main parallels that they put together for these anniversary sets have thrived in that time. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you some examples of every card I'm kind of talking about, and also list some of the reasons why I think this parallel, which comes from 2021, has failed in its product, and is actually a good buy if you want to kind of look for a low numbered parallel from one of your favorite current players or players that have played in the last like 5 years or so. All right, so let me stop the camera, I'll turn it around, and I'll show you some of the cards that I'm talking about, including the card I got in the mail just yesterday. All right, as I mentioned, starting in 2001, which actually started in the fall of 2000 with the release of Series 1, they had these gold numbered inserted cards within the actual flagship product. You can see the number here is stamped on the back with the cards. This is from Series 2. This was an innovation for Topps, but by no means was it something that they hadn't tried before, but was limited to a lot of their premium products at this time. It wasn't part of the base set. At that point, their insert or their chase cards within their base sets were often the autographs or relic cards, not necessarily these serial numbered cards that were introduced in 2001. This was so successful that actually they've continued it obviously on to this day, and 2 years later introduced Topps Black. So there's 2001, which was a pretty successful set, and that card remains pretty popular today because although there's 2001 copies, it's not known if 2001 truly exists anymore because so many cards got bricked in packs and were damaged. Although I guess it does exist, it's in pretty poor condition, and so many other cards, because it's such a delicate card design, got dented, corners were dinged very easily. So finding cards in higher grade from 2001 Topps Gold is quite a fun project, and one well worth it if you're trying to be able to kind of chase down the anniversary cards from that set and some of the players from that time. So fast forwarded 10 years. By this point, we still had Topps Black, we had Topps Gold, which both still exist to this day. But we started getting one-of-ones, I think, towards the end of like 2008 or 9. I think they started inserting one-of-ones in the set, which were a different innovation for them too. But they also introduced these Diamond Anniversary cards in Topps Series 1 and 2. You can get these Diamond Anniversaries. Here's the Derek Jeter from Series 1. So this was in addition to the gold. You had the black as well, in addition to those one-of-one like canary cards that were available. By the time we got to Topps Update, they actually made some changes where they introduced the Cognac cards. Here's Ichiro. I think this is from Series 2. I have the Ichiro on here. It's a checklist. None of those are numbered, but they did insert, at that time, I think it was with the update where they started inserting these Hope Diamonds. Here's a couple examples that I have. I only have 2. And these were numbered to 60. Which, like the Topps Black cards, had the same serial number. It was supposed to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the set, and supposed to be a special parallel that kind of went with it. Here's Mike Cameron. These are pretty popular cards within the hobby because they also include some of those retired players that were Hall of Famers, or also have some of these cards in a Hope Diamond. Pretty popular cards. One of the coolest little base cards you could ever really see. The way that the image refracts in there is pretty impressive with these cards. So then we got now 10 years later, so 20 years from 2001, we had the anniversary set for the 70th anniversary. By that time, parallels had exploded, which I think is part of the reason why this card is not necessarily all that popular. It has nothing to do with the player. But if you look at the 7th anniversary card, obviously they have the little silver 70th anniversary up here in the corner. But if I turn this here, the borders actually have the number 70 in here. And it's that logo repeated all along the borders. So this was supposed to be their special Platinum Anniversary parallel that they had in here, which obviously got quickly obscured when they introduced the Platinum Anniversary Topps Chrome set. So when you search for these cards, sometimes you see the Chrome cards come up. So it's pretty confusing of where you can it's pretty confusing to try and be able to find these cards. These were numbered out of 70 to be the 70th anniversary. So it was the same number as Topps Black. So it's the same scarcity of Topps Black. And it's the special parallel for the set. But like, nobody really goes after it. Well, here's some of the reasons I kind of think about that. As why the reason was. Kind of look at these like sort of side by side. Let's start with, they introduced like these foil board cards in addition to obviously already having like the Cameo, Mother's Day, and so many different parallels, but they just kind of loaded the set with parallels. And this is maybe a little bit more eye-catching, kind of looking at one of these cards. Even though the print run on this was out of almost 500, it was $4.99. They also have orange and red. But it's kind of a little bit more eye-catching than this one that just has really no refracting to it. And furthermore, you obviously still had like these inserts, these player image variations that people went after as well, which have since changed to now just be the golden mirror. That's the only player version that I think is different now with the base set. And I'll actually show you the card I got. So here's the one I got, which is from the update series when he was with the Dodgers briefly. See that border there, 70th anniversary, the Dodgers, getting numbered out of 70. Let's move this one aside. Let's move some of these cards off to the side. As cool as they are, I want to give a little bit more attention to this. So here's kind of like part of the reason I think is one of the reasons there's too many parallels, so it kind of got lost. Number 2, when you try and search for it, the Diamond Anniversary Chrome set comes up. So it's really hard sometimes to be able to nail down and try and find the card that you really want. But also you had other parallels, which I think look a little bit better. So we have like, here's the black of that card. I think with the 70th anniversary set, there's a little bit too much going on with the border, whereas the simplicity of black really helps kind of the other features of the card stand out, and obviously the image itself and the background. Whereas this, I feel like it's just too busy in here, even though like I think the blue with the gray works pretty well, unlike the one I just showed you, which has red, blue, gray. There's a lot of different colors kind of going on here. For here, it feels a little bit more chaotic than it does with this one. It's a little bit more simple, the design. But also you still have the gold cards, which is, I think this year they kind of stepped up their game to have the gold cards look really nice again. There was a couple years where I thought that they weren't as attractive as they used to be. So there's a lot of different options of what you might want to get. And if you wanted a card numbered out of 70, well, you have this one and this one. So I think just there was too many options for collectors to be able to go after too, as part of the issue as well. So these cards remained probably more popular to be able to pick up, in addition to all the other ones that had been introduced since 2011, such as like the Independence Day parallel and so many other ones you can kind of get for the sets. So I think that's part of the reason why, even like I saw a Judge for sale for just over $100 recently that was not graded. Whereas if you tried to get a black Judge from that set, you'd probably pay about $200. And what I would say that I picked this one up ungraded and I later got it graded. And then I bought this one, obviously, so I bought them both raw. And I paid almost about a third of a price for this one as I did for this one. And that's probably what you're going to find most consistently if you're trying to be able to pick these up. So if you do want a low number parallel, in here that's out of 70, it's from an anniversary set, this might be a good option for you, because they're certainly less expensive than trying to go after like the Hope Diamonds numbered out of 60, which remain much more popular within the hobby for players. But so that's just kind of an option to kind of think about. I think that's why these cards kind of remain not as popular. And I think for the most part, this is why this parallel really failed. It failed to be popular. It failed to be really unique, both because of card design. That was one of my reasons. It getting a little bit hard to search for because of the Diamond Anniversary Chrome set. And also you have so many different options of parallels that are now available in the set. I think were kind of the big reasons why this set and this parallel specifically really just failed. And even the 1/1 Platinum is a very bland card if you're trying to go after it for this set. So other than just having a 1/1, if that's important to you, then sure, go ahead and get it. But it's a pretty bland border. Granted, yeah, the center of the card has a little bit of a refract foil to finish to it, so it's a little bit more, it has a little bit more of an eye-catching appeal to it. But it's still not as cool as I think as looking at the black card. I think it's still not as good as looking at the gold card. So I think there's a lot of other options you can do that I think are going to look better with your collection. And I think that's one of the big reasons why I believe this parallel really failed. So now we're out to, next year is going to be the 75th anniversary. Last time we had a mid-decade anniversary was 65 years, and they introduced the Top Sapphire set that I really enjoy. They've continued on to this day, so this is the 10th year they've released it. So I'm kind of curious if they'll do anything for 75 that's special, if they'll do anything in the flagship specifically that's really unique. So we'll see. I think they should be announcing that pretty soon, what's going to be in the anniversary or the 75th anniversary set. And we'll have the checklist out probably shortly thereafter. So we'll see what we're able to get. Hope they've learned from kind of their mistakes with this one and kind of try and make the card really the chase card in the set and not have too many parallels that are going to be numbered below it that people want more. But I don't know if that ship has really sailed, and you know, we won't see that again as we start getting to other anniversaries. Imagine like the 80th anniversary, that card's going to be numbered out of 80. Well, people want that card as much as a card numbered out of 25. So just some observations I wanted to share with you. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I'm going to stop the video, probably put some soccer back on. I have to go out shoveling soon because we actually got snow here in the Midwest. So I have to take care of that pretty soon. And I wish you guys a wonderful rest of your weekend.